welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast.
I do my things, and then I come in and hang out with you guys, and I'm like, man, I'm such a slacker. What is happening in this world?
They fast today, so man, it's like hitting me already. So I'm going to be sipping on tea and coffee all day on the show. So I want to get right. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. We have the man, JLD, John Lee Dumas, with us. How you doing this morning?
You know, I always feel very fit. I'm 41 years old. I work out every day. I do my things. And then I come in and hang out with you guys, and I'm like, man, I'm such a slacker. What is happening in this world?
John, you're too hard on yourself, man, but I know you're fit too, but I mean, we've just been putting in the sets and reps for many years.
Yeah, you have. Chris, what are you drinking, by the way? What is that you got in your cup?
I'm drinking some green tea, so I'm actually doing a full day fast today. So, man, it's like hitting me already. So I'm going to be sipping on tea and coffee all day.
You actually just bought Dave Ashby's new book about fasting, and I'm going to check out his 14-day fasting course. So we're not here to pitch other books, by the way. So
exactly. Yeah, but no, thanks for your time, John. It's always a pleasure having you on. This is like your third time on the show, so I want to get right into this. And right before I hit the record button, I even just congratulated you on your book, right? So I want to talk about your new book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, a roadmap to financial freedom and success. So what inspired you to write this book, and who is this book for?
Listen, I wasn't ready to write a book back in 2012 when I launched my podcast. I was clueless. I didn't know anything, which is why I launched the podcast, by the way, back in 2012, because I needed to surround myself with amazing people. You know, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I had to up that 5, just like you guys are now in Dallas. I'm sure you're looking for that great, 5+ people to like add to what you are doing in this world, to add to your accountability group and do all these things. I was looking for that back in 2012. 2016, 4 years had gone by. I was a multi-million-dollar business at that point, but I still did not have a book in me. It wasn't ready, wasn't the time. Now, as you and I are talking right now, both of you and myself in 2021, I've interviewed over 3,000 successful entrepreneurs. My show, Entrepreneurs on Fire, has over 100 million listens. I'm getting over 1.4 million listens a month. I just hit my 89th month in a row where my business has had a net profit of over $100,000 for 89 months in a row. And as you guys both know, and some people in your audience, we actually publish those income reports on our website because we want to show people what's working for us. Also, what's not working for us. We publish our failures there all the time as well. And I just knew that now in 2021, when I've interviewed and learned from all 3,000 of my past guests, when I now have been a proven commodity running a multi-million-dollar business 8 years in a row, that I've learned so much. I've learned from those 3,000 guests. I've learned from my own business trials and tribulations. I've pulled out principles, elements, fundamentals that every successful entrepreneur has. And these fundamentals, they are clear, they are distinct, and they are chronological. So I sat down in 2019, actually, and I wrote out just the principles, all of them. And I'm like, there's 17 rock solid principles. You can't take one out. You can't get down to 16. There's none to add to get to 18. There are 17 core principles. So I put them chronological, and I looked and I realized I was looking down at a 17-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. And I knew that was the book I had to write. So I spent all of 2020 busting my little booty in the gym, but also on the keyboard, typing away. And I wrote 71,000 words.
Holy.
And as I was writing these words, the title came to me. This is The Common Path to Uncommon Success. Because all of these successful entrepreneurs that I've interviewed, the 3,000 plus over the years, they've all trod upon this path. They have all walked this path, a very common path to uncommon success. They've all trod that path. I have as well. The two of you have as well. That's why we are all these successful entrepreneurs because we have followed this roadmap, whether we knew it or not. And again, for me, a lot of it was in hindsight. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I did. And that's why I was a success. And oh, that's why I failed there, because I lost my way. I went off the path for a while. So I said, you know what? This is a book I have to write. As I mentioned, I wrote those 71,000 words. I partnered with HarperCollins. I went all in on this. I have personal endorsements from Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, Neil Patel, Dory Clark, Eric and Mandy. It's like creme de la creme. And the book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, is going to hit the shelves March 23rd. But pre-orders are everything in a book launch. So I've made every single pre-order absolutely a no-brainer, which we can get into a little bit more later. Yep. But I'm so fired up about this book. This book is my passion. This is what I've been working these 9 years to be able to create. And so if you're watching right now and you want a step-by-step, 17-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment, this book is for you.
That's amazing, John. And I just want to ask, like, after writing 71,000 words in this 7-step, framework, 17, step framework, what are you most proud of this book once it actually hits like those bookstores and gets in people's hands?
What I'm proud of is that this book is exactly what people who are meant to be entrepreneurs, who are meant to find their zone of fire, who are meant to live this life of financial freedom, lifestyle freedom, location independence. This is the book they need to click into gear, to get to that step, to actually achieve uncommon success. This is what they need. I'm also proud that there are going to be people that read this book, apply its principles, and 6 months are going to go by. They're not going to have any uncommon success. And guess what? Those people are also going to benefit, because the road of entrepreneurship, it might just not be for them, because it's not for everybody. And by the way, the 37th employee at Facebook has made more money than the 3 of us combined will ever make in our lives. So they're doing okay. And this book's going to maybe help those people who aren't meant to be the number 1, or in your case, 1 and 1A, like those 2 top dogs. Maybe they're meant to be a number 2 or a 10 or a 37 at Facebook, and they'll thrive there. And this book will get you there faster. So this book will either answer your prayers and lead you to the promised land of financial freedom and fulfillment, period, end of story, if that's meant for you. But it will also help those that it's not meant for recognize, okay, this isn't for me. Let me go find something that is for me now, but at least I know.
Yeah, exactly. Love it, man. So let's dive into this book a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to just go over some of like the ideas like behind it, and then if you can elaborate on some of these points, just so we can give the listeners a little sneak peek of like what they're looking into. Is that cool?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it, brother.
Okay, so you mentioned 17 steps to financial freedom and fulfillment. Can you give us just a few of these steps?
Got it. Step 1, let's just start at the beginning. That's the fundamental initial step that so many people have wrong, by the way. You have to identify your big idea. So many people are 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and they're doing something because they saw somebody else doing it. It was successful. And they're like, why don't I become a pale, weak imitation of that successful person and just follow that, and I'll maybe find success as well. And they don't, and they wonder why. Because it's not your big idea. Your big idea is very specific. It is your zone of fire. Like, why are Eric and Chris crushing it like at business, life, and health and wellness? Because they're living in their zones of fire every single day. You can find that too, but you've got to identify it. And this first step, this first chapter, takes you through the exact process of identifying what your big idea is, where you're meant to be living in your zone of fire every single day. Because once you have that foundation, all you need to do is take the next step, and then the following step, and so on and so forth. And how I've broken up each one of these chapters, by the way, is really interesting. Each chapter has 3 sections. Section 1 of chapter 1 is how to identify your big idea, what it means, how to do it, exercises, templates. It gives you everything. Section 2 is how I personally identified my big idea. So you get a real world story. Then I sat down and I said, okay, for section 3, who that I've interviewed over the past 9 years and 3,000 episodes best exemplifies this specific step, identifying your big idea? And I reached out to that individual, brought them in, and they contributed an amazing section to that chapter as well, talking about how they identified their big idea, how they recommend other people go about it for an alternate perspective as well.
I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, dude, come on. I was literally watching this video, watching this interview, and you literally just pop up on the screen and interrupt it. Trust me, there's a good reason for this. Just hold on, and I'm gonna let you get back to that interview or that video. Trust me, all right? So the reason why I stopped you on this is because we're giving away our book 100% free. Okay, so if you're a frustrated fitness professional, you're not growing fast enough, you're looking to future-proof and recession-proof your business by adding online training, or if you're doing online training, you want to scale and grow faster, all you have to do is check out our new book. We're giving the audio away, we're giving the PDF away. So all you have to do is click the link below in the description box and get your free copy. All right, so now back to the video.
So now you have these 3 different sections within each chapter, all of them unbelievably critical and powerful. And for an example, for chapter 1, I brought in Hal Elrod. That guy came up with the miracle morning, and he has changed millions and millions of people's lives about how they start their day. That was one single big idea that he had, and he's turned it into a multi-million-dollar empire. And that's the power of it. So I do that for chapter 2, step 2, 3, 4, all the way through. And real quick, just to give you guys a glimpse of chapter 2, a big problem, by the way, when people have their big idea is they're like, oh my God, I have my big idea. Let me go all in on this one idea. The problem with that is if it's really a big idea and really a great idea, which I'm sure it will be, it's probably not the first time somebody came up with it. Because listen, there's a lot of people in this world. A lot of people are coming up with ideas all the time. That's okay. And so, but the thing is, you need to think about, hey, do I go against these entrenched, already successful, massive competitors with this one big idea? No, because that's when you get squashed when you just are starting off. Instead, you say, okay, within this big idea, I need to discover a niche. I need to discover a void that's not being filled that I can exploit. And that's where you have to go next with your big idea, discovering a niche that's not currently being exploited so you can fill that void and get initial traction and momentum. And by the way, maybe over the next months and years, you are broadening back out into a more broad topic, but to get that initial momentum and traction, you need to niche down. And like in your industry, in the health and wellness, there's so many amazing examples of that. You know, it's like you aren't just going to be the person, you know, that's Mr. and Mrs. Keto. I mean, it's a great idea. It's a big idea, but it's been done. So what's like something in the keto world, and this is just a random example, but in the keto world that's not currently being exploited or talked about or a void that needs to be filled, you become the best at that part. And that's where you get your toehold. And then you kind of grow and expand from there. And so those are just the first 2 steps. There's a total of 17 steps, which are real quick. And the last thing I'll share before I pass the mic back over. Step 17, keep the money you make. That's the final step.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's why these boys moved to Dallas, because now they get to keep a little bit more of the money they make by not paying those outrageous California taxes. That's why I'm in Puerto Rico. But there's more to it than just that. Like there's a lot of tactics and tips and tools you need to know about once you start making money, how to actually keep the money you make. And I brought Ramit Sethi in, by the way, as the guest contributor for that, because he's fantastic. He's unbelievable. But at the end of the day, I'll end with, on this specific chapter, keeping the money you make, there's an obvious reason to me why the rich get richer, because it takes money to make money. When you already have money, it is so much easier to make more money, because now you can invest in your team, grow a bigger team. Now you can invest maybe in ads to blow up your sales, or maybe you can, do a number of things, invest in stocks, in bonds, in real estate to continue to exponentially grow your wealth. Like it was so much easier for me to go from 1 million to 10 million than it was from 0 to 1. Because now that I had money, $1 million, I was able to grow my wealth exponentially as a result. So you've got to get to that point where you can be at a place where you're having your money making you money.
Man, I love it. Holy. And just because too, John, in the last point too, of keeping your money and just like the financial, education, we weren't taught this in the school system, a traditional school system. My parents didn't know this. I wasn't taught this. So I want to are you familiar with this, the law of wealth?
Tell me more.
So
the words, but let's hear it.
I don't want to butcher it, so I wrote it down to read it off. So the money will flow away from the financially uneducated and unmotivated to the financially educated and motivated people.
See, I love that. And there's actually a really amazing thing that we have to think about right now, when I don't think it's going to happen, but a lot of people are like talking about the Great Reset, where they're just going to take all the nation's wealth, all the world's wealth, and just either wipe it out or just distribute it out evenly amongst everybody that's in the world. And there's a lot of talk going on and a lot of momentum behind that, which is kind of crazy to think of, but it's true. But the thing is what would happen after that? Exactly what the law of wealth says. The people who are financially educated right now, the money would just flow right back to them in 3, 4, or 5 years. And in some cases, even sooner, you would see the same distribution of wealth. That's just the reality. And so you have to get financially educated because that is such an honest truth.
Yeah, exactly. And before we wrap up, John, I just want to go back to one of the 17 steps, because this one I'm really kind of like curious about too, is dispelling the doubts and fears we have when it comes to financial freedom. Why is this important? Because that financial freedom word gets thrown around a lot.
Financial freedom gets thrown around a lot. And what I think people need to really realize is, number one, the reason why my tagline is the roadmap, your 17-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment, is because, listen, financial freedom without fulfillment, that is not a good life. I have a lot of people right now who are financially free because they have a lot of money in the bank, but they're golden handcuffs. They are stuck to a job they hate, to a life they despise, and that is not fulfillment. You need both. And by the way, it's really hard to be fulfilled without being financially free, because if you are not financially free, you're having to work for somebody else. You're having to answer to somebody else's marching orders. You're having to march to the beat of somebody else's drum. It's hard to be fulfilled in that manner for most people, especially for the entrepreneurial type. 100%. So if you want both financial freedom and fulfillment, this is the path that's going to take you there, because there are those myths and those doubts that I really want to dispel about financial freedom. I want to give you a great example of what that looks like. Financial freedom does not look like having 10 million or 50 million or 150 million in the bank. It looks like the amount that you need to live the life that you want to live on your own terms. There's a person I know right now, who's living in Montana at a beautiful lake house, making $86,000 a year, doing what they love, waking up every day, going fishing, coming back, putting in their time, working again on their zone of fire, making $87K a year. They are so financially free. They are so fulfilled because they set their life up in that manner. By the way, you can go to my income reports for the last 89 months. My income has been plateaued, albeit at a very high dollar amount. So nobody's complaining, including me, like, don't cry for me, Argentina. But a lot of people could look back and be like, John, you haven't financially grown your business in 8 years. And I'm like, I haven't, because I don't want to have a bigger team. I don't want to have an office space. I don't want to have weekly meetings. I don't want to increase my ad spend to $10, $50, $100,000 a month, like some of my, other peers do. Great for them because they want that, but I don't. I want to live in Puerto Rico. I want to work hard when I want to work hard. I want to not work hard when I don't want to work hard. And I want to be financially free. And I've accomplished that. And I don't just chase more just for the sake of chasing more. I have enough. My revenue is currently enough right now. And when opportunities come, I'll exploit those opportunities in a positive way. And I'll bring in more revenue, and I'll be able to write bigger checks to my favorite organizations and charities and be more philanthropic and all of those things. And I'll love that. And, I'll just kind of at the same time kind of end on the note about, financial, like really doing well financially and being proud of that. Because, for a lot of people, because of the money issues that we all grew up with, from prior generations, a lot of people say, well, John, all of that, like still, but money just can't make you happy. And I'm like, at the end of the day, people who say money can't make you happy have never been able to hand a blank check to their favorite organization or charity and say, go do something good. Because if that doesn't make you happy, I want to check your pulse, because that made me really happy to be able to write multiple 6-figure checks to my favorite charities and go see them do their amazingness in the world. I was really, really happy when I did that. And still, when I think about this now, I'm very, very happy thinking about doing that. And I'm very, very happy thinking about doing more of that going on in the future. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Exactly. And man, I'm just really glad you touched on that. We ended on that, just like the fulfillment part, because I don't think that's discussed enough. Everyone's always saying, yes, you got to make more money, be more financially free. I understand, but there is a cost to that. And I've, like Chris and I, we've met tons of millionaires, billionaires, and masterminds. And huge bank accounts, but bankrupt inside. So I definitely understand, where that's coming from. So John, this is awesome. I'm really excited for this book. Where can the listeners pick up a pre-order of this and get this in their hands?
You got to do the pre-orders because listen, life favors the action takers. So be an action taker because I have 5 amazing bonuses for every single person that pre-orders. All these bonuses disappear when the book goes live. So why not just pre-order the book now, get all of the bonuses, and be flipping awesome. So just real quick, bonus number 1, I'm shipping all 3 of my journals. You guys see 2 of them behind this here. I'm actually shipping the trifecta, number 3, as well. So you get all 3 of these journals for free, shipped to your door. Shipped to your door. I'm losing money on every pre-order, obviously. I mean, I'm shipping these 3 journals that are $150 worth of value to your door. But again, this is not a financial play for me. This is how do I make this a no-brainer because this is going to help you, this person watching and listening to my words right now in your life. I know this in my heart of hearts. So I'm doing that. There's 4 other insanely amazing bonuses. All you need to do to check out more about the book, to look at the bonuses, to see the endorsements, visit uncommonsuccessbook.com. You can pre-order right there, uncommonsuccessbook.com.
Amazing. So guys, make sure you guys head on over to that link, get your guys' book, get those bonuses. Those journals are fire. Chris and I can attest to those 100%.
Absolutely.
So John, once again, thank you so much for your time, man. And congratulations. Just, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, just everything that you're doing, that you have done, just our relationship that we built. I truly appreciate you. And I couldn't be more excited just for this whole thing coming out and just the impact it's going to make on people.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Love it. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, guys, until next time.
All right, I'm going to take a break real quick. Did you enjoy that interview with John Lee Dumas, JLD, Entrepreneur on Fire? I know I did, and I'm excited to read his book because I already got my copy, so make sure to grab a copy with his book. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to listen to this interview we did with Patrick Bet David, PBD, the person that came up with Valuetainment. That's an awesome YouTube channel. So listen to our interview with him because there's 2 main things I want you to get from it. The first thing is he talked about all of his kind of like upbringing and secrets on how he got to where he's at now, to the situation he's in right now, being an entrepreneur, Valuetainment, all those type of things. The second thing I want you to learn is he talks about his next 5 moves. Some of the biggest 5 moves that he learned all throughout his like entrepreneur journey, and you can apply that into your lifestyle. So make sure to click this video right here, watch that interview with Patrick Bet David, and we'll see you next time.